What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. Today we got some work to do on this truck because we're having more problems out of it, and I don't even think that this is going to solve it, but I'm hoping it will. Fingers crossed. What we got here is a four-wheel drive 2000 GMC Sonoma, and as you can see, we got the plastic on the ground, we got cardboard up underneath because we're going to make sure we don't get anything on this ground anymore. Don't worry, what you're seeing down here is coffee that spilled out of the Camaro the other day. So what we've got going on is we're going to do an engine oil change, oil filter change. We're going to do the transfer case. We're going to do the front differential. We're going to do the rear differential. We're going to do the coolant. We're basically going through just about every fluid this truck has because I've got a popping noise coming from what I can assume to be either the front differential or the transfer case on this. I don't know which, but either way, I want to make sure all the fluids are replaced. Not only are we going to get into the fluids, but there is a couple suspect items. This is a 4x4 transfer case switch, vacuum operated. These are known to go bad, and what's happening is when it's in two-wheel drive, you hear a moaning from the right front wheel. So that's where the axle tube is on the right front, and it could be that four-wheel drive is not completely disengaging because this little ball right there at the top is stuck halfway in and out. That happens, that causes a lot of problems. That is an item that you should just replace. We also got another switch. This is on the front axle, another four-wheel drive switch right here that's got the same type of ball on it. It was like $8 for this. It was like $15 for this. Worth replacing. We got the new key and the new lock cylinder because the key is sticky in this, and if you ever got to get out of a situation in a hurry, you don't want to be sitting there jiggling your key trying to get your car started. We got full strength Prestone fluids right here. We got our axle fluid for the front and the rear. This is the 80 weight 94 bottles of that. We got ATF for the transfer case. We got 10W30 for the engine, and we got 4 5-quart jugs of Dextron 3. So that, paired with some of that ATF 205 Reseal that I'm going to be throwing in here, should guarantee that all of our fluids are full, all of our fluids are clean, and that we won't get any leaks in the future thanks to that AT 205 Reseal. I've used that in the past. Good stuff. But before we can get into that, I got to give a big shout out to Cove for sending me this commuter portable Bluetooth speaker with X-Bass subwoofer. That's right, it has a subwoofer, ladies and gentlemen. And that subwoofer is right there. That little thing produces phenomenal bass. I'm not even joking with you. I absolutely love this speaker. Now, not only does this little speaker pack a powerful punch in the sound department, but this thing is fully loaded, wireless ready. You've got your near field communication right here. You got your little microphone right there, which I used earlier when a telemarketer called me. They had no trouble understanding what I told them to go do, and I had no trouble hearing what they were trying to sell me. This thing's got the X-Bass subwoofer. It's got the built-in microphone. It's IPX4 water resistant. It's got a digital signal processing chip for enhancing the sound quality automatically. The battery is a massive 4,000 milliamp hour rechargeable battery. It will provide you with about 6 or so hours of playback. And as far as being easy to use, you couldn't get any simpler. You don't need instructions for this. Look, swipe this way to go back, swipe this way to go forward. Volume control is right here on the side, up and down. Very simple to use. And because this thing packs such a powerful punch when it comes to bass, you can push this mode button right here, turn that bass off, push it again, turn it right back on. Now, I've already found a few good uses for this little speaker right here. Number one is in those cars that don't come with stereos when I buy them, you know, and it's gonna take me a minute to get a stereo, or I'm just not gonna bother putting a stereo in it because it just isn't worth it to me. This little thing right here is about the size of a soda can. Drop it right in the cup holder. There you go, instant stereo. Connect it to your Bluetooth over there to your smartphone or whatever, and listen to whatever you want to, and this thing will sound awesome in your car. I absolutely love this little thing, so thank you again for it. Now, on the website, it's $199, so it's an expensive unit, but they're offering you guys, my subscribers, one heck of a discount, 65% off if you use the code AUCTIONREBUILD. I'll have a direct link in the description as well as a direct link in the comment section, and don't worry, I'll post that code down below for you guys as well. Go check these guys out. Big thanks to them for sponsoring this video.
America took the last of our innocence. Just kids, greatest life that ever lived. Young blood, stronger than it's ever been.
So the very first thing I'm going to do is slide you guys up under here. Here's the engine oil pan, and right here is the front differential. All right, we got a drain plug right here. We got a fill plug somewhere over here. I can't see it on camera, but it's there. I think you're looking at it right in the middle of your screen. And right over here is one of my suspect, I don't know what you want to, a switch, not a sensor, a switch right here in your screen. I'm going to take a 7/8. I'm going to pop that sucker out, and we're going to put a new one back on. In fact, I've already got the plug disconnected right here. So we'll just take that off, get to this sensor with a 7/8 or this switch, and replace it. We got our 7/8 up on here, and this thing is actually very loose. Truthfully, I'm surprised at how loose that little switch was to begin with. I assume we're gonna have some fluid leakage here. No. And here is one of the two switches that I'm gonna be replacing today. Like I said, this ball is notorious for getting stuck, although this one, I can push it up and down, and it feels like it's working just fine. So there's probably nothing wrong with this one, but while we're under here, we're gonna replace it anyway. And there you have it. One switch replaced. We only have about a million more things to get done today, so let's get to it. Next on my list of things to do is right up here, way up here, where you can't see, is where the vacuum switch lies. This is your transfer case right here, and this is your front drive shaft coming from your transfer case going up to the front axle. All right, and you just gotta reach up there and you'll feel the vacuum, the big vacuum plug that plugs on it. Pop that off, 7/8, and we'll start getting that out of there. I don't think you guys could even see where it is, but it's somewhere right up there. I can't record this. Just hang in there. Let's see if we can get that off real quick. For those of you that might be getting ready to do this, or you're experiencing a problem with being in two-wheel drive, but four-wheel drive is still groaning, you're still partially engaged, or you've got it in four-wheel drive and it's just not engaging right, this is the switch you should really check out. You see that ball? That is stuck down in there. It is not working properly. Here's the way the vacuum switch is supposed to look. This is the old vacuum switch, and this is the new one. This is how the new one looks. This is how it's supposed to look. So when you've got it straight up and down like that, you should see that ball protruding from that switch. All right, and as you can see here, nothing's protruding. This should be. I don't want to get too excited yet, but this should be the reason the four-wheel drive is stuck partially engaged even in two-wheel drive. So the best thing you can do to get to this, ladies and gentlemen, this is your cross member right here that goes to your transfer case, transmission mount transfer case. This is your drive axle going from the front. We are going towards the back of the truck. Go in front of or behind, depending on how you're facing it, but go up behind. Hopefully you can see my hand way up here. And the switch literally goes in. It's hard to show you, but where my hand is, that's not going to do you any good. No, that's not going to do you any good at all. Well, anyway, where my hand is right here, I'm literally threading the switch in from here. I don't know if you could see it, but it's right. There's just not enough light. Anyway, reach up there. You'll feel it. It's there. And honestly, this is the best way to do it. I ended up using a 22mm long wrench that I had to kind of finagle in here and work around the drive shaft right here. But it's a 7/8, or you can use a 22. And let's get this installed, and hopefully this will resolve the noise that I've been having from the front end. All right, so the good news is it seems to be shifting in and out of four-wheel drive much better now, and that makes sense since that other part was actually broken as I figured it was. Now, that doesn't guarantee it's going to work, but I'm pretty certain that's going to fix the issue. But I'm not going to take this thing out on the road, test drive it yet. We'll save that for later. Next, we're going to climb under here. Let's get to this front differential, and let's get the fluid changed in the diff. Then we'll work on the transfer case. I don't know if we'll have time to do all this today, but like I said, we've got the drain plug right there. There's a fill plug somewhere back over here. We'll find it. There's a fill plug over there. We'll get that changed out, put a little bit of that leak seal in there, since you can see there's a tad bit of grease leaking from the rear seal over there. We'll get this done, and then we'll move on to the transfer case. Now listen, boys and girls, in case you don't know, before you take this out, make sure you take the drain plug out first. Number one, it gives it room to breathe. And number two, you don't want to drain all your fluid only to find out that you cannot get fresh fluid back in it. So let's take a look at what this fluid looks like right here real quick. Here she goes. Well, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Move this over here some. Yeah, grease or oil, whatever you want to call it, actually doesn't look that bad in this. Put a little on my finger here so you guys can get a clear picture. There you go. It's not bad at all. It's still nice and thick, good viscosity. I don't think this is the original fluid, so at some point I think somebody has changed this for sure. We'll let this finish draining, and then we're going to add a little bit of that AT205 Reseal, and then we're going to fill it up with fresh 80 weight 90 fluid. And you're going to fill this up probably with a transfer pump, be the easiest way, until it starts dripping out of the fill hole. The vehicle is level, it's on the ground. Luckily it's a small truck, but it's high enough up off the ground. You can get under here and do just about anything you need to without getting it jacked up. So we're going to get real scientific here, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the AT205 Reseal, and by the way, a link to this will be in the description. I swear by this stuff. So there's a few people that have said snake oil, but anybody that's ever used it and experienced how good the stuff works, you already know. You already know. And if you don't know, you need to at least give it a shot. Now, obviously, if you've got damaged gaskets, severely damaged gaskets or damaged seals, this isn't going to do you any good. But if it's just starting to leak, and sometimes if it's starting to leak pretty good, this stuff can swell those seals. And man, even Scotty Kilmer loves this stuff, man. He's been swearing by this for like 30 or 40 years or something. I haven't been using it that long. I've been using this stuff for about 5 years now. And it also works great on suspensions. You got a squeaky suspension, you can put this stuff in a spray bottle and spray it liberally on the squeaky suspension components, and this stuff usually swells it up and shuts it up. I just recommend you leave it set overnight after spraying this on there to really let it soak in. And unlike WD-40, which temporarily quiets things down, this stuff actually soaks in. This is a polymer. It absorbs into the rubber, into the plastic and stuff. I swear by this stuff. So here's what we're going to do. One little bottle treats 6 quarts for maximum efficiency. All right, 6 quarts, one tiny 8-ounce bottle. We have 1.5 ounces in a shot glass. This is a shot glass of mine. It's got my name on it. So this is 1.5 ounces. The front end holds somewhere around 2 quarts. So we're going to put close to 2 shot glasses of this substance into the front differential. And that's how we're going to do that. I'm going to try not to spill it everywhere. I'm going to sit it right here on this cardboard, and I am going to try to pump you up.
And just like that, it was gone.
All right. This time, fill the sucker up. All right, let's squeeze some more of this in here. All right, there you go. Pour the rest of that into that 80-90 jug. What's in that shot glass? Just pour it into that 80-90 jug. All right. This is a little sketchy, but she's working. Just fill this thing up and wait till it starts dripping out the top a little bit here. And that's how you know it's full. All right, now we're going to move on to the transfer case. This is very simple. The same thing with the differentials. Make sure that you can get your fill bolt loose before you take out the drain bolt. And on this one, I've seen a lot of people complaining that other people that showed how to do this on a Sonoma /S10 /Hombre Blazer didn't show the size of the Allen head you need to use. This is a 10 mil, and a 10 mil is going to fit it perfectly. So I've taken the liberty to loosen these without you. Here is the fill plug, and as you can see, there's nothing on it. That's somewhat concerning. We should have fluid dripping out of there, and we don't. So it looks like we may be a little bit low on our differential, or sorry, not differential, on our transfer case fluid here. And that can definitely cause problems, cause premature wear, the internal parts, particularly the chain. Let's get this off and see what we got in here. Oh, wow. Well, that made a mess. Good thing we got that cardboard and stuff under here, right? That happens, no biggie. The fluid, again, doesn't look too bad. I've seen fluid that was just absolutely disgusting in some of these before. Some of them has had water in them and stuff. And this isn't too bad. It's not even black or anything. It's a dark red. So it's not the pink that it was, but this fluid actually is not bad at all. It really looks like somebody really tried to keep up with the maintenance on this. So far, I'm very impressed with the fluids we've gotten out of this truck. Let's close it off, put some of that AT205 Reseal in this as well, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so now we're in the process of filling her up with fresh fluid. And once we see it start dripping pink fluid out of the transfer case, we'll know that it's full. And I see some dripping, but I think what's dripping right now is actually just coming off of my hose. We should get a nice, good, steady stream coming out of here once it's full. This will wear your hands out, man, no joke. There it goes. That's what I'm looking for right there, is a nice, steady stream of fluid. Take that out. Take your fill plug. Put it back in. Just like that, tighten it down, and you got fresh fluid in your transfer case. All right, so we're gonna start by taking the fill plug out of here. And we'll see if anything leaks out, which would be a good sign. It'd let us know that the differential was full, but it doesn't look like anything is gonna leak out of it. The differential is actually low on fluid. I was able to stick my finger inside the diff, and nothing came out. So it's going to be a 1/2 inch / 13. I'm going to see if we can use our miniature earthquake right here to get this off. Looks like that's not going to be a problem. Well, this little thing just works great, man. I want to get this under here. She's going to inevitably start leaking some, unless we're gonna have to beat the thing off with a. It's there. It's already under there, dude. One of my bolts got stuck. It's already starting to leak a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I see fluid starting to leak. That's good. That means this thing may just come right off. Oopsie. That was my bad. Gotta love when it gets stuck in there just a hair, right? Just rock it off a little bit. She's gonna start dripping real soon. We've already got most of the bolts off of here. I'm definitely gonna leave the top one in, just so we don't have an accident of this thing blowing apart on us. See, it's starting to drip already. There we go. We'll loosen this one up, but I'm not going to take this one out just yet. There we go. And if you can see, the fluid that's starting to come out of it is actually clean. That's good. That's really good. Although I feel like I'm kind of changing all these fluids for nothing. It's good that the fluid in this is clean. It looks like somebody really has taken pretty good care of this truck. And that's always a good thing. We'll get this bolt out of here. Oops, if I don't knock the camera over first. Let's just wiggle that off. We'll need to get a light hammer. And we can tap this gently, very gently. I always try to tap it with a hammer first, very lightly, as I said, and see if that can break the seal. And if it does, great, and if not, then we may have to go a little bit further with it and get a screwdriver up under there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently tap around the perimeter. Same thing on this side. Alright, so we're going to have to get a little bit of a screwdriver in here to pry this seal apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my screwdriver, I'm going to try to get a little bit of leverage here. I don't actually want to pry underneath it. There we go. Just like that.
Perfect.
You don't want to bend this. If you bend it, you're going to be in bad shape. You have to get you a new cover. That's real nice. You can just kind of get it between the axle and behind the cover and just pry on it just a little bit. There you go. There you go, just like that on both sides. And we'll just let her drain out. Then we'll take that cover off and see what the insides look like. I'm gonna hold it with this hand. We'll take this off, then we'll slide this out of here. Gently, gently, gently. There we go. Not to worry, we will clean up the inside of this. But now we get a good view of the inside of our rear differential. So I figured I'd get you guys a closer look at the inside of this differential here. Hopefully this is not a locking diff, I think is what they call it. I've got 80/90 gear oil. It's not synthetic. It doesn't have friction modifiers because according to the manual, this only requires 80/90 in the back. So if any of you know for sure if this is like a Positrack or something like that, definitely let me know. And before we go any further, I'm sure a lot of you wanted to see what the inside of the diff cover looked like. There's the magnet, and you can clearly see all the metal, friction material, all that stuff right there. Lots of it, but it is 20 years old, so keep that in consideration there. And go ahead and comment below. What do you think? Let me know. So here's what it looks like all cleaned up. She's looking pretty good. We used a lot of brake clean, and I know a lot of you are going to get on to me for using silicone on this, but I use silicone because there is quite a bit of pitting. Even after cleaning everything up, there's actual pitting around the top here, which is pretty common. Same thing on the cover, there's pitting on that too. And silicone's going to fill in all of those pits, whereas a regular gasket would not. So we're just going to go back with silicone on this, put it back together after it tacks up a little bit, and then we'll fill it back up and hope for the best. Alright, so she's tacking up pretty nicely. And everything's looking like it's good to go back together, so I'm going to kind of carefully get this back up here where it needs to be, slide it in, try to match up all of these holes. Oh. And I want to just kind of hold it in place. I'm going to put a couple bolts in. Just to get everything nice and lined up here. Couple in the bottom. Then we'll just slowly work our way around, and we'll let it tack up a little more before we go torquing it down. But so far so good, ladies and gentlemen. Now that we're gonna let that rear differential dry up overnight, we're gonna go ahead and change this oil real quick. Probably gonna need to back this up a little bit. There we go. Let's get that out of the way here. How's that? Let's see how this does. Hopefully we don't make a big old mess under here. Ew.
That's pretty rough.
That was nasty. That was definitely nasty. We'll get some fresh oil in this thing. It ought to love this new oil. And next on the list, let's drain the cooling system. And as with the rest of it, the cooling system actually looks good. The Dex Cool in it looks to be in really good condition. So nothing wrong with doing a little preventative maintenance, but so far everything seems to be good on this truck. Loving it. Boy, we're actually making some progress here. So now I'm going to put this AT205 Reseal in here. Right here. Like I said, I'll have a link to this in the description as well. This is good stuff. We're putting it in everything. I'm talking front diff, rear diff, transmission, engine oil, transfer case. I mean, I'm going to put some in the power steering when I take a baster and empty out the power steering and refill it. So we're going to put a quart of this in here. And for me, this is all just mainly preventative maintenance here. The truck's got a few tiny leaks, nothing too serious. The only real noticeable leak is from the front differential. It's from one of the seals to the front drive shaft. and it is leaving a tiny bit of a drip in the road. And we're gonna drive it around, and then we'll report back in a separate video, and hopefully I'll be able to report that that leak has stopped. So it's been 2 days since that very last clip, and we need to get this done. We're so close to having it done. I think the next step for me is going to be doing the flush in the bucket like I did the other day. I think you guys may have seen the video where I showed you how to do a $12 transmission flush using a bucket and a garden hose right there. Now this time we're going to do the filter, of course. We're going to do this one right. Like I said, we're doing everything in this, and I think this is what's going to conclude today's video. Don't worry, we'll get to the rims and tires in another video, and we'll change the ignition lock cylinder. I want to show you guys how to do that too. We're going to do the ignition lock cylinder in another video as well. So the routing for this, from what I found online, says that the hot transmission fluid goes through the upper metal line, then runs down the cooler, comes out the bottom, goes back to the transmission. So if we disconnect this upper metal line and put a hose on it, the fluid should be gushing out of this line, go through the hose, then into our bucket where we can flush it. I've got like 4 5-quart jugs of Dextron 3. I hope it takes Dextron 3. You know, I actually could be incorrect about that. I'm pretty sure it's Dex 3. Guess what? Let's see. Yeah, Dextron 3. Okay, perfect. So it does take Dex 3. Of course, you can replace Dex 3 with Dex 6 since they don't really support Dex 3 anymore. So we're going to take that off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my brother, excuse me, my brother actually wants to make a video for his channel, so he wants to do the transmission filter himself. So we're going to fire this thing up, pump out the fluid that's in it into a bucket, and then my brother can get under there, and hopefully the pan will be mostly empty so he won't make a big mess and get fluid all over himself. We went out to my favorite discount parts store, Harbor Freight, and picked up a couple things. I needed a new light, so we got one of these. My old light here has been failing me, so we went and got another one, LED, 1500 lumens. That thing was like 40 or 50 bucks. And then what I'm most excited about is this bad boy right here. Now the ratchet is laying somewhere. There it is. I've been wanting to get one of these for so long, and I can't tell you why I haven't, but I finally bought one. It's the Earthquake Xt Ratchet. Look at that. About $139. I did buy the 2-year protection plan on it, and this thing's going to make doing all this crap so much easier. You know, instead of ratchet, literally just push a button. Let it do the work for you, man. Work smarter, not harder. That's what my dad always said. And this thing has 60 foot-pounds of torque, that's pretty impressive for a little ratchet, man. All right, let's get this upper line out here. Let's get a hose run to it, get it in a bucket, fire it up. Let's get most of the dirty fluid out, although the fluid really doesn't look that bad, guys. Look at this. I don't know how well you can see that on camera. I mean, obviously it's not bright pink, but it's not bad either. There's nothing wrong with this fluid at all. It does look like it's time for a service, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. So as we did the last time, we've done the same thing this time. We cut the hose, got me enough hose to run down into this bucket here. We're going to fire up the truck, and when we do, assuming the diagram I saw was correct, the fluid will flow out of this hose into the garden hose and into the bucket. If the diagram that I saw was not correct, we're going to have fluid shooting out of the radiator all over the engine. So we'll probably take this rag and stick it down here, although truthfully it's probably not going to do much of any good, but at least it'll help catch some of it. I've got a drain pan under here. I've also got cardboard under here, so we got a drain pan just in case. So well, exciting. Please tell me it's coming out in the bucket. It's not. It's pouring all over the ground. Yep, it's shooting out the wrong side. The good news is I do have a drain pan under here for that very reason. And as you can see, oh boy. Well, it got on the cardboard It got in the drain pan, most of it. A little bit got on the concrete here, which is not that big of a deal. It's not a whole lot on the concrete there. We do have a pressure washer, so I can clean that up. So apparently the diagram that I saw was incorrect. Let's take a look at the damage under here. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, now we know. Now we're going to try this again. See, I could totally edit that out, and you guys would never know. But that's not my style. I make mistakes, I mess up, and I'm man enough to admit it. So what I did is I put the hose onto the radiator here, the cooler, and I put a clamp on it. I've got a rag there. So hopefully this will be enough to hold it. This isn't extremely high pressure. Please don't blow off. There we go. That's what we were supposed to see. There's the fluid. And like I said, it doesn't look that bad. Definitely in need of a change. I'm gonna start pouring some more fluid in it. I don't want it to run dry. And we'll come back when it's starting to clear up. So my brother's gonna handle this transmission pan and filter and gasket. I've already, like I said, already drained the fluid into the bucket. So be sure to check out TJ's Auto. He's so close to being monetized, guys. Please go over there. Link will be in the description and in the comment section. Go watch him do a quick, just a real quick transmission pan and filter change on this thing. He's gonna clean it up for you. In fact, spoiler alert, he's already got it taken apart right here. And there he is under the car. So go check out TJ's Auto to see that. Hopefully you can, hold on, I want to make sure, in case you don't watch this video. All right, be sure you check it out. I just want to make sure anybody that's potentially interested in purchasing this in the future knows that we actually did what we said we were going to do. Go check out TJ's Auto. Now let's get back to work. Now that we've got the transmission pan, new filter back on and everything, and again, thank you to Tim from TJ's Auto. Go check him out. We got 4 jugs. These are 1-gallon jugs of high mileage ATF, automatic transmission fluid, also known as Dexron 3/Mercon. I also have 2 containers of these 8-ounce bottles. Each one of these 8-ounce bottles of AT205 Reseal is good for approximately 6 quarts. Now this transmission is a 4L60E and it holds 12 to 13 quarts dry. So completely empty from scratch, you're looking at 12 to 13 quarts, which means 2 bottles of this Reseal will be perfect for doing this transmission. But before we can put that stuff in, I'm going to continue flushing out the old stuff until we have bright pink fluid coming out instead of this darker maroon color fluid. Real deep red turning to a brownish color. We want it to be more bright red or pinkish. Once we get the correct color fluid coming out of here, we know that we've got all the old fluid out, the good stuff in, then we can put our AT205 in, and that will help ensure that we don't have any future leaks. We put 1 jug in there. Now we're going to fire it up. Here it goes. Give it a minute, because that pan was empty. There she goes. It's got to suck all that. See how dark that is? I want it to start looking a lot better than that. Now it's starting to come out pink. You see that? That's what we're looking for. It means we're getting close. And here goes what should be the last of the old fluid. We have now run 12 quarts through this. That's 3 entire jugs right there. So we have put 12 quarts of fluid has been run through and flushed out. And we got 1 more jug back there. So once this is empty, you see how bright pink it is? Look at that. Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's what you want to see right there. Once we run this out, we'll put in our ATF 205, our 2 8-ounce bottles of that. And then we'll put in our tranny fluid, fill it up. And she's good. That's beautiful fluid right there. We got our transmission fluid in, and we have shifted it through all the gears. And now it's time to add 2 bottles of our AT205 Reseal. And if I haven't said it 100 times by now, I'm going to say it again. This is not sponsored content. This company has not sent me anything, not even the product. I paid for it with my own money. Second bottle. We'll fill up that rear differential. Add a little bit of AT205 did as well. And this thing should be good to go. This is a truck that should last a long time now that it's had some good preventative maintenance done to it. And it looks like someone has already taken care of it a good part of its life anyway. So let's get back there, fill up that rear differential, get this thing ready to get on the road. Okay, we'll stick this in here.
Careful. Don't get that on your skin.
Now we're going to suck up the AT205. Make sure we got it in here real good. Just pump it in there. There we go. That's one shot glass emptied. We'll put this up so it doesn't leak. Let's go for round two. So each shot glass is 1.5 ounces. So this should easily treat 2.5 quarts or so with no problem. Again, we're going to hold this up. Now we're going to get our bottle of grease, and we're just going to stick this in here and start pumping it full of grease until it starts dripping out, a steady stream coming out of the rear differential. And that's how we'll know it's full. We'll put our cap back in, tighten it down, and we should be good to go. This AT205 is great for the rear end because it's going to help you with your, pinion seal. It's going to help with your axle seals and things of that nature to make sure that you don't experience leaks. And right now we don't have any leaks, and I don't want any leaks. So this is how we're doing that. It's always fun using these hand pumps, man. It's going to wear your hands out. I guess it'd help if I wasn't directly in the camera's view, right? We're just going to keep doing this until eventually we start dripping fluid out of the differential here.
We might have to go get more.
There it goes.
Sweet.
All right.
Just as I said it to.
And that's what you want. As soon as it starts dripping out, get your plug. Get your plug in there. I can't hardly see what I'm doing here.
But it probably doesn't help that I clean it off the carpet.
There we go. Get your ratchet, get up in there, tighten her down, and you're good. That was a lot of work. This whole truck, that's a lot of work.
Yep. Just glad that somebody already did the suspension before we got it.
Amen. All right, so here we go. And I can already tell you, the main issue that we had with this truck is that in two-wheel drive mode, which it's in right now, it wouldn't release totally from four-wheel drive, and it made a horrible groaning. And it's not doing that anymore. I mean, it was absolutely unbearable. And you can, on the fly, there's four-wheel drive. I felt the front end engage. And here's two-wheel again, disengaged. No problems, no groaning. I'm 100% certain that the reason for that was that switch that we replaced that you saw the ball was stuck. It's doing great. We've got no warning lights on the dash or anything. Everything in here is looking like it's A-okay and good to go. So with that said, looks like we can end this video. I'm really happy with the truck thus far. Time will tell. Because you know how this goes with me. I end up spending a bunch of money on something and then I sell it for half of what I got into. Hey, that's the name of the game though, man, but we're not done yet. Come back because we have the ignition that we're going to put in here, the new tumbler or the new lock cylinder or whatever you want to call it. We're going to put that in. We're going to get those new rims on it. We're going to put a wax on it, and we may even ceramic coat it with some product that I got from Avalon King. So stay tuned for all that, guys. And until next time, hey, no, wait a dang minute. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please click that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Like the video if you enjoyed the content. Follow me on Instagram, Auto Auction Rebuilds. And now we can get out of here. Until next time, everybody, stay safe out there, and I will catch you all very, very soon in the next one.